it's, I don't know. I just don't understand how you know what you're supposed to do as a person to save your own life. And for some reason, you decide against it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that maybe I don't know, but I mean there are two things. So Raphael was very religious, okay. So maybe
I've heard that religious
there was an extreme belief in God, but also I think that maybe it was an addiction to football. Sometimes it's difficult. I mean, when someone is addicted to something, it's very difficult to pull the person away from it, and that's the only reasonable explanation that I can give for something like this. Because I mean, if you know that something is going to hurt you and you consistently do it, then it's like someone who smokes or someone who drinks like excessively. You know that in the long run you have a bad liver, it's going to hurt you, but they still continue doing it. So I mean, that's the only thing that I can say. Two reasons. Maybe extreme religious beliefs in God, and then maybe it was an addiction to football. Then if it's not either of the two, then I don't know what it is. I mean, it's I don't know.
Okay.
It's just really tough for you to understand. But yeah.
Kevin.
Well, Theory, I think this is always sad, and when you have such personalities dying, but I always say that in the quest to make religion and then the love for Christ to reign, God is not going to do by miracle what you need to do as a matter of responsibility as a human being. God was definitely going to save his people, but Noah was directed to physically.
There is a human intervention.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you knew this for so many years. There were several times he encountered this.
Yeah.
The reason why he couldn't play in Italy, the reason why he couldn't play in England.
So you know the 2021 collapse on the pitch. I feel like that was the final warning.
Exactly.
I mean, that was you know, and because from reports that was really, really bad.
Yeah.
So
I think he decided to just defy all these and then think that yes, the God he serves, was going to put it. We loved his passion and the zeal for Christ, because he actually brought some players on board in forming the footballers for Christ. Footballers for Christ. And I think he was doing some very good things, especially shaping the mentality and then the future of some Ghanaians. But it's sad that he had to leave the pitch this way. I think he could have probably been much more instrumental in football than trying to still play on the pitch. Now we see Enoch Mwepu doing some wonderful work. Nwankwo Kanu left football, but the sort of things he's done for people with heart conditions, with the foundation held by Arsenal and others, did so much. And I think that Dwamena could have been that one for this country.
Off the pitch.
Yes, off the pitch. Several other players are encountering this. And it is one thing that I think that someone like Manu Ajimabedu has been very prudent with that decision. When these situations started popping up and he realized it, he could have played. He's very active. You see him when he came to play for Olympics. But he decided that at that top level football, that engagement should cease. That was at the early stages. But Raphael had gone to the extreme levels. So why then should you go on? But I think it's really sad, and then we just hope that his family would find that peace in God, and going forward some of these things should really be resolved. I don't know whether the PFAG and other people advise, just like you're saying, someone like Dr. Prince Pambo at the highest level of sports medicine decides to advise him, and then he decides not to take it. Several other medical people have decided to advise him. He decided not to take it. All of this, you don't follow your passion and what you think that you enjoy or your hobby just because now you've inflicted more pain on dependents and people who are close to you. There are some of us, just like someone like Ayew, maybe he is stronger, but you ask yourself. Yesterday I spoke to Felix Anan, we're trying to get him. He played with him during the Black Stars, but Felix was playing a game. Just after the game he called me, and then it was all tears, because he had a few years with Raphael back at Red Bull when he was about leaving to join Kotoko full time, and it was like, come on, this is so sad. I think the pain that has been inflicted is too much. We just hope that he finds that peace and solace in God. But it's an unfortunate that for the football family.
So just before Reku comes in, his consultant was actually the Germany team doctor. And he saw him a few times. And Dr. Prince Pambo said it actually, because Prince Pambo said that's his supervisor. And so Raphael met him a few times. The advice was a lot, but like I said, possibly an addiction.
Oreku.
For me, I'm just wondering if you had a lot of opposition with your decision to play, then why go on? You try and justify other
Exactly
reasons
my
as to maybe it was money or addiction, because I think those could be gotten in smaller multitudes, not necessarily top level.
Okay.
Aguero has a heart issue, but he still plays five-a-side under a supervised environment. It's not so intense like professional football.
So he's also addicted.
Yeah, but at least
Then Yao is right. Because I mean, how can you see of all the organs, the one thing that fails and immediately you lose your life is the heart. How can you keep getting all the warnings about the heart and you still continue to do the same thing?
I mean, I'll come to that as to why I think a lot of footballers struggle too. But as I was making my point, the second point was that if it's monetary, then you are looking at maybe what is it like your family needs you or depends on you. But I was looking around the Albanian league, and roughly he's making around 2,000 cedis a week.
What?
Cities.
Yes, 2,000 cedis a week.
What?
Yes.
What do you mean cities?
It's Albanian league. I mean, who is going to pay you crazy money for?
So what, you mean $400?
Yeah, so I think it was around
$200? What are you saying?
No, it was late 100. I think 190, 180.
$200.
Euros
Yes,
or something.
less than
but
200.
it's less than 2,000 or around 2,000 cities a week if you bring it to Ghana cities.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's the truth. Albanian league is not. If you look at it, there were no fans at the stadium set.
Yeah.
So it's not like the most marketable league. So if it's money, then that 2,000 or 3,000 cities, you can make it somewhere else.
Yep.
And this is where, I mean, we have to look at some of our authorities and wonder, is it a case of
Is Chelsea make your man start the stammer?
Oreo is confused because Chelsea just conceded. He's lost his thoughts.
Is it a case of money? Because as I was saying, like if it was money, then there are other ways that you could have raised that amount of cash. Mwepu was equally young when he found out that he had to cut down his career.
Yeah.
Immediately, Brighton gave him that deal of becoming a youth coach for Brighton. And so he still gets that fulfillment. He still gets that feeling of being close to something that he loves. And most importantly, he gets something to feed off. But I'm just thinking that, is it a case that no one really sold the idea of life after football to him? Because I'm just thinking that Dwamena was born in Koko as a kid. Just like every Ghanaian, he had the dreams of playing in Europe. Worked so hard. You always have to think about, because I tried to become professional, you have to think about how hard it is as a Ghanaian footballer, especially those times, not even now. As those times, to actually make it through Ghana, go beyond the continent and get to Europe. To the extent that even Brighton, the Premier League side, wanted you. So you have to sort of account for this journey that he feels that I've given all my life to it. Because to become a footballer, you really need to give all your life to it. And to feel that, you've done that, you've gotten to the point where now you're supposed to reap it and enjoy it.
It feels like wasted years?
Yeah, I think that's the thing. And it's not just about telling him, stop, it's not good for you. But can you tell him you can still get it in another way? You can still maybe become a coach. You can become a pundit. Were those ideas being sold to him, or was it just a case that he has to stop? Because you have to think about the mental edge. Is it a case that he felt depressed that 1 year that he was away from football, not doing something that he loved? Were people checking on him? Who was talking to him? How was he feeling in that period? To him, maybe in that year, it felt like death because he was not doing what he loved. So what's the point anyways? There are a lot of questions and answers in this, but it's easy to sit here and say, you should have stopped. When you're not in the person's shoes, it's always easy. But the thing is, when someone dies for what they love, you always have to, I would say, cut them some slack. At the end of the day, look, we all came to this world to die. If truly, that was how he was meant to go, or that's what he loved, he wanted to go doing what he loved, then maybe he's achieved his purpose. But I just think that it's difficult to recommend without all the factors, but maybe, just maybe, a better idea could have been sold to him, with life after after and all that. And I don't want to blame our FA or PFAG and all that, but I'm very critical about that 1 year that he was forced to stay away from football.
Yeah.
What happened to him?
Yeah.
Where was he? Who was the support system?
Yeah. And
Did
also
he get
another
a
thing,
therapist professionally?
when he left Levante, I mean, Levante, could they have done better with how they let him go? Within that 1 year, could they have done better with him? Like you're saying, Mwepu got a chance. Brighton immediately Brighton said, "Oh, come in, coach, whatever." But did Levante do that for him? Were they checking up on him within that 1 year? And maybe, like you said, all those ideas of being a pundit or having to play five-a-side or being a coach never came onto the table. And so, I agree with you. Yeah.
Let's take a listen to Sani Dara, and he's definitely been part of the football system that monitored Raphael Dwamena very, very closely, of course, from his time at the Ghana Football Association, and also knows him personally. He speaks about his debut.
After he got the 2 goals, there was a lot of optimism around the team and right across the country that we would have a good replacement for Samoa Gyan. At that time, if you had looked at the trajectory of his career and the number of goals he was scoring in Europe was frightening. So a lot of people had hope that after Samoa Gyan leaves the scene, Raphael Dwamena would be the person to take up the mantle to deliver goals for the Black Stars. But unfortunately, as it turned out to be, the issue of his health, I would say conspired against, that progress that everybody and the hope that everybody had in him were completely, would I say, undermined by those health concerns he had.
So Sani Dara speaking about the debut of, Raphael Dwamena there.
Materi, I think there's one thing that I think the football governing body should look at.
Okay.
When you have the heart condition to a certain level, you can play in England, you cannot play in Italy, you may be able to play in Spain, you may not be able to play in...
Different regulations.
Why don't they make it that if this is the condition of the player, by our rules and by our medical, regulations, the player needs to stop playing football in order to prevent any unforeseen circumstance. You never know which gadget or which, for all you know, the ambulance may be at the stadium, all provisions may be made. Yeah. But if at that particular time the ambulance decides not to start, or maybe something happens in the ambulance and right there on the player cannot be, sustained until he gets to the proper medical facility. I think FIFA needs to act on this. Because
I think it's the same radical decision kind of thing that they took around the head injuries. They need to do something similar. If you have a heart injury, a heart problem, we as a body will not allow you to play in our system wherever in the world. And I think that's something that UEFA and the entire football need to look at. Anyway, so that is it with Raphael Dwamena. But we will definitely be coming back to you with more developments, getting into the story and bringing you more updates on Raphael Dwamena on this show, plus others. I see producers dancing back there. I'm not sure what for. Did Chelsea score? Did Chelsea score? Because one of them is a Chelsea fan. But anyway, let's get into Chris Hughton. One man who definitely has 9 lives is Chris Hughton. He's been crucified a number of times, and several times he's been in there, as still continuing as the head coach. I thought he was definitely going to die, in USA when Ghana lost miserably to Mexico and the United States, but he still lives on. And even ahead of the crucial qualifiers, he is still the man going to lead the Black Stars. If not for anything, according to a photo posted by the Ghana Football Association, where all the decision makers were surrounding this man, smiling. Kelvin, you seem like you want to go first.
There are things that I think we need to, first of all, Chris Hughton hasn't been impressive.
Okay.
He should know this. He has disappointed, some of us who thought he was going to give something better than we saw from even Otoado, CK Akona and the likes. He's been extremely on the downside when it comes to the result. And the football is not even as impressive as you'd want to see. If this was what it was going to give us, I think we should have stuck with CK and then the Agro Ball. At least it qualified us to the AFCON.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he couldn't go for the AFCON.
Yeah.
But one thing that I think this FA has also needs to know is many are praising or lauding the Black Queens and Nora Hoptel for their performance, and even the Black Princesses. I'm sure we'll be coming to that. It's all because that level of interference has been to the extreme minimum. Hardly would you even see the number of people you see around the Black Stars, around the Black Queens, or even the Black Princesses. It means that there is that serenity, there is that liberty. There isn't that pressure on the coach to deliver. The constant, show up of, several faces at the team's camp. It's not what you see.
So you think it's a Ghana ecosystem? It is not the coach.
The coach has his own issues.
Okay.
Because practically, if you are sending journalists away all in the name of having a closed door training, and you come on the pitch and then you give us shambolic performances, you need to account for it.
What were you closing the door for?
Yes. Yes. Sundowns open their training sessions before the weekend game. But we saw the brilliant football they deliver. Al Ali opened their training session. We saw the brilliant football they deliver. We see cameras all around these European football clubs when they prepare for games. And they deliver on the pitch with very progressive football. Our progressive football has been 0%. You cannot even stick to Ghana's play and say that this is how Chris Hughton wants his team to play.
There's no identity.
Exactly. There's no pattern of play. There's no identity. The players are just scattered all around the pitch. But I'm sure at this point in time, it doesn't make any sense if you want to sack the coach now with just a week, less than a week, for you to play your 2 grand qualifiers ahead of the 2026 World Cup. Then it wasn't going to make sense. Number 2, Ghana already owes someone like CK Akono. We owe Milovan River. Financially, if the FA were stronger financially, probably they could have put in the word that yes, we sacked the coach, yes, we are going to pay for the rest of the month. That is until February 2024, because I think he earns $50,000 monthly.
You've veered into a different realm altogether. Are you saying that money could be the reason why he's still hanging on?
Yes, it could be one of the reasons.
But not because they didn't want to sack him in the first place.
Yes, it could be. All the factors when you want to sack the coach, you factor in all these things. The first one, I said it was too quick and early for them to give him the sack ahead of the World Cup qualifiers, the 2 games that will be coming up, because he's been with the team for over 2 years now, because he was with the team last year. Let's say over a year now. And you don't expect to lose him, and then who was going to come in? It was the same George Boateng and Didi Dramani who have also been with the team in that same period. So there wasn't going to be any change. So why don't you allow him to stay on? Number 2 was financially. Number 2, I spoke about interference. And then 3, it's financially. If the FA were strong, sincerely, if they think that they were strong and then they wanted to send the coach away after that game, the poor performances in the United States, which I think it started, ringing bells that the FA are not happy, and even Ghanaians, me myself, not happy with the performance Chris Hughton and his boys are showing.
Yeah.
They would have sacked him.
Okay.
But they don't have the money. So I think, yes, I don't know what happened at the meeting, but what the smiles and all that, if they are not fake, tells us that probably they are yes.
But did you see Odo's face?
He said,
did you see Odo's
he will never smile. That man, he will never smile. So we just hope that at least that sort of support will be given to him, and Chris will be his own man. From things he will hear on the side, he hasn't been that commanding force who is even able to command the players or have control over the players. If that is the case, Chris has been at the highest level. He's seen better players than some of these our boys. Edmond Ado, if you cannot control and tell Edmond Ado what to do on the pitch, then you have no business being the head coach of the Black Stars. If you cannot control Joseph Payne, so if you cannot control Osman Bukari, if you cannot control players like Antoine Semenyo, then you have no business being the leader of this team. And I'm sure that when it comes to coaching, you need to be as strong a man as you. We saw Shehata.
But you see, that's what we thought he was, yeah. And
I'll
come back to
you.
We
thought he was, but he isn't.
That's what we thought he was. We thought he was going to be the guy that finally brings a certain level of discipline in the team. Maybe a first since Abraham Grant, who the players respected. But it hasn't shown on the pitch.
So the thing is that I'm wondering what really goes on at the FA.
Yeah,
seriously, because it looks like every supposedly tough person they bring, they are able to just
they make the person a monkey.
Exactly. Yeah,
it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, Milo wasn't the same person he was in 2010.
And it's shocking to me because I don't get it. But I just want to say that Chris Hughton is someone that I wanted to I really wanted him to
only Oreku didn't
to get the position. I really wanted him to get the position, but I mean now it's not looking great at all. I mean the thing is that I'm not even bothered about the results because if you beat Angola 1-0 away, it's pardonable. If you come here and in a game against Central African Republic, you have to wait and score a last-minute goal before you need to win. I feel like all those wins are pardonable to a certain way. But if you're not playing well, then it is terrible. And that's one thing I've always said, that, look, the thing about Ghana is that usually they just want to come and watch great football. They really just want to watch great football. And sometimes you play great football and not win, but they would agree that
the signs will be clear.
Football. It's like that game we played against Cameroon at the AFCON in 2008. Everybody says the Black Stars played great football. It was just they were just unlucky to have not won. And I think that's what's missing with Chris Hughton. And also, Chris Hughton, I mean the teams, the players that he is calling up, it makes you wonder. Like sometimes I sit down and I ask myself, like, Chris Hughton, like for someone like Edmondado, to be very honest, if you watch what Edmondado has done in the Black Stars and what maybe he's not playing now in his club, but what does Chris Hughton really see, and what is Chris Hughton's plan for Edmondado in that
2 years ago, he used to play well for Sheriff.
That's great.
That's it.
That's great. But now he's not doing the best. And you see, me, one thing that I always say is that all of us, I mean, many of us were saying that Otuado was a player, whatever, trainer scout, whatever. But look at the football we played at the World Cup and compare that to the football that the supposedly good coach is having us play. And that's where I have my biggest problem. And so, if Hughton is going to stay on, I mean, I'm Ghanaian, I would have to support him. I really hope that he is able to be his own man and get the results as soon as possible. The thing is that, look, I don't care whoever he calls. Just make sure that you are getting the results.
Exactly.
And I don't also think that you should call somebody and have them play by all means. If they interfere and you call the person, leave the person on the bench.
It's that simple.
I don't see why because look, we took Kamal Sowa to the World Cup. He didn't kick a ball. He got his money,
and he was happy.
And now we don't even call him up. We don't even call him up again.
So what was the plan?
So what really is the plan? So what really is the plan? So if they are interfering, call them up, leave them on the bench, play the players that they can't interfere. You can't interfere with Kudus. If you say they shouldn't call Kudus again, we will riot
the whole
in this
country.
Right? Exactly. You can't interfere with Jordan. He's good. He's playing the football. Jordan he's been good this season. You can't say that I won't call Jordan. Certain players, those are the players that you need to be focusing on and making sure that they are giving you what you need.
Sure.
Don't change and bring somebody that is dubious. Like, hey, then people will start asking questions. This man cries, is he correct? Like those things. Please, like, we just need something good.
His call-ups have been so predictable. I heard ones that
it's like Abraham Grant.
I heard ones that he said he wants to build a familiar team, a team that know themselves over time. I don't know how that works in national team football, except for when you have such a great pool of players that you know that when I keep calling these players and they keep, familiarizing, it will get better. But for him, you are calling Edmondado. You sometimes will call
Elisha
Owusu. You will call this guy, the German-born guy,
Koninsdorfer.
You will call him
Kofi Tre.
You will call Tre. You will call until recently the Genk guy wasn't playing, Joseph Pinto. You call all these guys, and it's like your mood, or whatever closed door tactical decision is what prompts you to decide on who plays. But most of the time, your selection itself is not a familiar selection. You are the 23-man squad, the 25-man squad is familiar, but the starting 11 isn't familiar. So what are you doing? Because there is no, like you said, there's no identity. Since you took charge, one thing we used to say about Hughton was he's very good defensively. He considered 6 goals in 2 games against decent national teams. When you played against lesser teams or less quality teams, again against Angola and all, you struggle to score. It was against Liberia, Pek and Awashetre. Liberia, and it was a friendly game. It doesn't count. So when it matters, you can't give us what we need as a country.
And you know the funny
and you
thing
can't tell me that these kids are young anymore. Sorry, you can't tell me they're young anymor. You were there as a sporting director,
technical advisor,
technical advisor. And before Otuado left his position.
from March till December 2022.
You know this team.
Yeah. You know the problem I think we have with this team. You know, when we had the Black Stars that had familiar faces, at least some of the players played from junior levels, and then they knew how their colleagues played.
Yeah.
When you had Asian, you had Apia, you had Laye, you had Sule. You know Apia knows how Laye plays. Sule knows how Muntari plays. They know how John Mensah plays. Okay. Samiko Fo with his experience will add up. Then you have the lateral, someone like John Pencil, because he was the right winger when Laye was playing as a central midfielder during their youth days. Yeah. So they understand themselves so well. And Samuel joined them very early because he was younger and he learned how to play with them. Now, you were just talking about the Liberia game. Even with 2010, when Andre Ayew, Ajiman Bedru, Rabiu, and the likes, Samuel Nkomo, Poko Ajiman played the under 20, Jonathan Mensah, when they slot into the team, you could see that, come on, these my colleagues are familiar guys I play with. I know that by the time I raise my head, Samuel Nkomo will be on the right-hand side of the opponent's defensive area. So let me just kick the ball to him and I'm going to find him. But ask yourself, with this team, how many of them have been able to play together under the same philosophy, under the same pattern of football? It looks like different players altogether. And that is why some of the other national teams are performing at a higher level. You go to Senegal and you can mention about 5 different players in the same lineup who play from Generation Foot or that Demba Academy, and then they understand themselves. This gets to the FA that it is time for them to develop the National Football Academy. Okay. This is time for us to really put much more effort in developing the grassroots.
Currently, we are relying on right to dream.
Exactly. And if you don't have these basics right, we are going to struggle, because there are times that you need players and their ingenuity to play. Kwaja Samuel and Asamoah were performing at the 2010 World Cup because that philosophy from Liberty Professionals was there. That understanding from Udemy was there because there is a certain philosophy, there's a certain idea that they know. Once I have the ball, Jan is going to run for it and I'm going to lay that pass. But you don't have that in the Black Stars again. The only time he decided to play to the strength of the players, we managed to get to the goals. You remember that was the Liberia game. You had Kudus, you had Nyama, you had some of these other players. They understand
themselves, those two.
They know how to do or to play and understand how they move on the pitch. And we managed to get in the goals. If we fail to prioritize these development from the basics, we are going to struggle, especially when you have a defensive-minded coach like Chris Hughton, who would always be looking at defending and not creating, attacking patterns or patterns of play that would allow progressive football to give us decent play and more goals. I think there's a lot more to do after next week. The FA should just start quickly. If it's about pram, they should quickly get it done. Instead of focusing on getting the players $100,000 appearance fees, they should just invest the money. Take about 10 players, would give you $1 million. You can put up a decent or start a decent project at the Ghana Man Soccer Center of Excellence, which you are going to reap benefit in the next couple of years.
All right, real cool. Producer says I should skip you.
Oh, sure. I mean, Chris Hughton, I'm not surprised.
So producer says I should skip you. But I mean, we'll go to Ghana, Madagascar. Kelvin spoke about the next 2 games and how Ghana needs to approach it. So can you please talk us through it? Ghana, Madagascar, Comoros, Ghana.
Look, today at service, I learned about capacity.
Software Bani.
Yes, and how there was the small cup that they use for communion.
Okay.
Sometimes you can be praying for big things, but your capacity is just communion.
Okay.
There's a small bucket and then there's a barrel. You should all aspire to get the barrel. I'm sorry, but Chris Hughton is a small cup. He's the one that we use for communion. Look, we have all this talent, but the thing is that this is capacity. He cannot make the most out. And you see, we are wishing for something that the guy just isn't. Yeah. Chris Hughton is never going to play. He has never done it. Yeah. Look, Chris Hughton
Even his defensive, he still conceded.
Yeah, he was meant to be a defensive coach. But he was meant to, and now even that is not working. So honestly, as I said, I'm not really surprised because this was the same coach that was in charge of Nottingham Forest and doing the championship. But down there, I think 15-16, battling relegation. They sacked him in that same season. They got promotion.
Your point.
That was one of his latest jobs.
So your point.
I'm saying that the guy is out of debt. Fine, if you want him, then cool. But let's not act surprised and think that we took this guy for this and he's not giving us. The only thing that we're not getting is, as you said, the defensive solidity that we're not getting. But we're never going to be any attacking side, play fluid football. No, that is not Chris Hughton. That's not his style. And the thing is that he had not even been active in football that like he was doing. No, he was off the game. If I had started partnership at Premier League, I want to take him. And if you say you go and take coaches that no one wants and you don't fight over people with coaches, this is what you will get. And so we'll settle for it. But against Madagascar, Comoros, of course, the usual Takashi and hope for some kudu shot or Noama or something. If that doesn't work, then it will be a few days for Ghana. I don't even know why people expect anything from the Black Stars anymore. Me, I don't expect anything. Comoros beat us at the Africa Cup of Nations. If we don't
but I mean that was last year. It was unexpected. You think we'll not be better prepared this time again?
Has Chris Hughton won any away game? Yeah, he has got every away game is very turgid, flat. We don't create anything.
The home games are great.
Yeah, that's the thing. And you see, when you are playing these teams at home, they make it count. And so
do you know why this is crazy?
What?
Like I keep thinking about how we played against Portugal at the World Cup, and I compare it to this, and now people are trying to tell us that we don't have quality players, and that's why we are not playing well.
If it was left to this, I even prefer a teacher.
Seriously.
What Otuado did.
And I think about
even that game against Brazil that we got destroyed, that second half was decent.
Second half was good.
And you know, after that we played against Switzerland, right?
Yeah. We beat them 2-0. We beat Nicaragua 1-0, missed so many chances. And now easy. Chris Hughton.
That Switzerland 2-0 was one of the best games we've
very
played in the last 2 years.
In
the last 2 years, one of the best games we've played.
So why can't we progress from that? That is the problem.
because we took.
I don't get it.
Because we took one decision that took us back. I mean, all of this. I mean, there's always a silver lining somewhere. Imagine. You know, before the World Cup, there was a debate about whether it should be Chris Hughton or Otuado. So imagine if it was Chris Hughton that took us.
Oh yeah, like 1 point.
No, but you know, theory. I think
we'll draw against South Korea at home.
You know, every coach has his way of playing and getting results. At least you played in the Premier League. You were coached there. We know that the Premier League style, the orthodox Premier League style is kick and run, get the ball to your high players, and then. But you don't even see that. You play Semenyo 0. You play Iñaki 0.
Look, I'm telling you, I've been privileged to go to see Walid Regragi's training session.
Yeah.
I've seen Chris Hughton train the Black Stars at least 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
As I said, in those 4 times, I never saw the team do any form of tactical work with regards to drills on how to break down blocks, how to create chances. You know, when I saw Walid's team, you could see them forming triangles, and it's almost like an 8v8. They do it doesn't work, they'll stop. And then they'll do it doesn't. The only time Ghana does anything like that is like 10v10. They are playing to score to win. Yeah. The game is never stopped for you to teach them anything. Never. Yeah. And it's like they are playing to score and win. And I'm like, what's the point?
Yeah. And then they are closed on.
That's how they train.
You're not really, and that's it's 10v10, and then they do some passing drills. Yeah. Sometimes they do some shooting drills, and you never really see any patterns being ingrained into their head. So I'm convinced that they don't do it, because if you try it, then at least you see that they are trying to play something on the wings. And it's not working.
To be honest, I have never monitored the Black Star training and seen any tactical.
No. I've never even seen set pieces.
But you went to Karela.
Yes.
You saw their training.
Yes.
And you see, that's a strange thing, because yesterday the Karela coach was on warm up, and he mentioned it, that when he's trying to teach them something and they don't get it, it is either he stops the training
and we
abruptly,
go back.
or so he stops the training abruptly. They go home, come back, and try to do what they were doing yesterday again.
Exactly. You need to get it.
There's no 5-a-side play and score.
No. You need to get it.
You know that
every
time at that level starts training, it's almost as if we trust you can play. So
exactly.
This group, one team. This group, one team, play. And then the coach is there writing something, and I don't know what he's writing.
At that level
you
of
would
football,
never see set piece training. You would never see any sort of movement training.
When
No
was
positioning
the
training.
last time we scored from a corner?
Yeah, we don't do set piece training.
Yeah.
We don't do set piece. So every set piece, Jordan would run to it, and everybody just leaves it.
There-
And it is me boys will be headache.
Let me be sincere with this. You know, when Kwesi Appiah took, fine, many of us don't like, or do I say many Ghanaians still think that Kwesi Appiah isn't a good coach. But
I think
he's one.
attack is like one of the best attacks.
Exactly. You know, when we go to training, he doesn't care about his defenders. He is always on his wingers and then his central attacking midfielders. Look for the channel runs, place the ball in there. And that was exactly what we saw from Kwesi Appiah. The reason why we had players like Nana Kwesi, Thomas, Japan, and you could see the signs that this is how Kwesi Appiah wants to play. Even when we played against Germany at the World Cup, you could see the signs. The ball was always going to the flanks. Just bring it in through a cutback or a cross, and Ghana is going to score. And that was how we managed to get our goals in
Kelvin,
one of the best World Cup
Talk
games.
about attack. Andrea, you could probably make us better. Or
Well, Thierry,
that's 3 years.
Thierry,
Le Havre, France.
Thierry, this one, okay, let's share the grace here. We are sharing the grace. Andre Ayew has never ceased his commitment, his dedication, his desire, his overall play and zeal and passion playing for Ghana. If what we saw during the 2 friendly games in the United States is what we want to go by, then Andre Ayew for me should be in this Black Stars. His energy levels may not be right and may not be at that top level. He may not be the same Andre you play from the left or the right hand side of attack. But if Andre has managed to secure a place in Le Havre in France, they are not a worst performing team. They are part of the top 10, top half of the table. If Andre, as captain of the team, who has never showed less dedication for the team, has managed to get a club and he's back into the Black Stars, then judging from what we saw from the players and their lackadaisical, unwilling, lethargic attitude in the United States, Andre should be played as a false 9. You put maybe Jordan and the likes around him, Kudus and Esnyama, and then I think we are good to go. We will find goals at least.
That's four attacking players.
You're playing against Madagascar. Why should you be defensive?
It's huge to know.
No, listen. If Saleh Summit, and then maybe another
That
defensive.
guy is another problem.
Exactly. If Saleh Summit and then another defensive-minded player or another central midfielder cannot battle against Madagascar for all these 4 attacking players to play, then Ghana, the Black Stars would never be good again.
Yeah,
You cannot tell me you are playing Kudus, you are playing Nyama, Jordan.
Yeah, between you and Oreku, answer this for me. Andrea, you to Le Havre. Something good here?
Yeah. So the thing is that when I saw the deal, I was a bit surprised. I mean, but I was just wondering that what really does Le Havre see in Andre that he wants, and I think that for a club playing in one of the top leagues in Europe, thinking that they can still get something out of Andre, I felt that we can trust the decision of a club like that to see that maybe he still has something that he can still give football. And in many ways, I think that maybe as a country we've been a bit too harsh on Andre.
We have
on many occasions.
Yeah.
I think that we've been a bit too harsh on him. But also another thing is that I feel like the Madagascar game is a game that we should just try to play attacking football for once under Houghton to see how it goes, and then we can start drawing our conclusions or whatever. But as for Andre, I think that going to Le Havre is a really good deal. I want to see more from him. The thing about Andre is that he will score goals over there. He will definitely score goals at Le Havre. How many goals? Maybe even if he gets 8 goals in the season, I think that it will be really huge for a player of his age and at that level. But I think that he's going to get somewhere around 10 goals and probably just help the team consistently do well. It's a good move for him. Also another good move for the fact that he wants to go to the next AFCON.
Yeah.
So it's a really good move for him. But hopefully he produces something better, so that there isn't too much to say about him. Yesterday I saw the unveiling, nice pomp and pageantry around it.
Yeah.
And I just hope that he brings the performance.
Wherever Andrea Ayew's agent is, he should come for Kebab right after. I'll sort him out to Bosuke now, because look, he's just performed a madness. People don't even understand what the guy has just done. We are 3 months into the season. We're in November.
Yeah.
Andre Ayew hasn't had preseason.
Yep.
He is 33 years.
Oh, you said preseason Ajax Park.
Yes. The last time he played any game was in March, April. Yeah. And even that he didn't start a game was for Nottingham Forest.
Yeah.
This is a guy who is 33 years. Yeah. This is a guy that if you sign him, he will be away for a month for AFCON. And he has still managed to join a team that are currently set in League A.
Yeah.
I don't know how he managed to do. I don't know what he told.
He's Andre. Maybe the name also helps.
Yeah, it helps. But you see, from a business, I don't even know how he's able to work it. Because for me, the biggest selling point is like, how did you go past that AFCON argument? Because you would need at least 3-4 weeks to settle in the team. So let's say up to December. And then when he starts to settle playing a few minutes, he goes again for 1 month, comes in February. They don't have that amount of resources to just throw away. Look, this is a small side, small town. They just got promoted to Liga. They don't have that money.
Maybe
they don't have that luxury.
Contract to know because I mean they didn't pay anything for him.
Possibly, maybe.
So that's some good side financially. And then now there's a talk about what the salary would be. Yeah. So for all you know, it's not that much commitment. The boy himself wants to play. So it helps. I mean, the player wants to play, and for him. So I look at it from the perspective of Andre being a bit desperate to play, and so he would definitely come down on whatever he's asking for, and the club would now have that power in negotiation, because I mean they know there's an AFCON coming. They know he's key for Ghana. They know it would take a while for him to settle.
Maybe they won't pay him within that AFCON period.
I mean it could be.
You never know the terms.
But
regardless, I think this is a really
European clubs.
Move.
They are one set of clubs. They don't take any decision based on sentiment. They don't care.
Yeah.
They can you can be their top scorer one season, and then they let you go the next season. So, I mean, whatever the case is, whatever the deal is, I think it's really impressive. And to join a team that are already in the Conference League qualification slot, at least gives him that platform to be able to demonstrate the skill. 8 years ago, he was in France tearing the league apart. And, I think people forget Andre. There was a time where this guy, back in 2014, 2015, was at the similar level to guys like Gervinho, Eden Hazard. These guys were touted as the next big thing. For me, I think he left France a bit too early. I think that was the difference. And maybe if he stayed one more season in France with Champions League football, and he would have probably got a better move outside the country. But I still think he's done the best that he could have in terms of his career. And once again, I just hope that at least this puts away the distraction from the black. Because already the team is not good. And the distractions are too many. Your coach is fighting with this. Your captain is not playing football. So at least that's one side that has been settled. Captain playing now. So hopefully we're able to put all these distractions aside. And then we have a fruitful AFCON in Ivory Coast in January.
All right. Thank you very much. And that will sum up the whole conversation about the national team and, of course, the Black Stars ending on the Andre Ayew notes. We'll move. Remember, this program is brought to you by Betway. Get way more. We'll take a quick breather. We'll be right back.
Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays will never be the same with Betway. Get cash rewards, free bets, free spins, and more with deposits on Top Up Tuesdays. Log in on Fridays for a chance to get free bets, free spins, and more. And every Saturday, get boosted odds across the most popular bet types on the weekend's big fixture. Get way more at betway.com.gh. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. No under 18. Terms and conditions apply. Betway. Get way more.
Welcome back here to Sports Ultras with me, Thierry Nyan, and we get into other matters, including women's football and black princesses. Well, there's women's football in Ghana because actually they beat out.
More the same, man.
6-1 against Eswatini.
Yeah, they considered the first goal too. Yeah. They considered the first goal,
and this is the same team that failed miserably in the last tournament they played. Against Netherlands, Japan, USA. That was a World Cup. I mean, they placed third.
Who was the coach then?
And they seem to be coming back.
Who was the coach then?
Bro, don't ask me that.
Yeah.
Don't ask me that. Don't start this malicious conversation.
I don't want to go there, but I think when you decide not to put round pegs in, square holes, you get the results. Laura Hoptal has been handling the black Queen's very good.
Yeah.
Now Yusuf Basigi, who has previously been known to have handled the women's team, that is the senior side, also has Hazakes performing at top levels, is now the head coach of this Black Princesses. So you have some of the top quality coaches in there for your women's team. Now they don't even have the assistant coach because he is with Ampem Dakwa for their CAF Women's Champions
We'll
League.
talk about them shortly.
So now, Anita Redu Minta, who is the second assistant, very excellent lady. She was on the TV last week talking about this game. She emphatically stated that they were going to beat Eswatini, that they were ready, that even if that morning they said they should fly to.
This is an away game.
Exactly. She spoke with that confidence. And you're like, can the Black Stars speak like that? Can Chris Yoti and John Duarte speak like that?
We'll try.
We think we have a good team, and that's
we'll try. and they weren't with one of their top players, Sugar. They call her Sugar. She's part of the Ampem women's team.
Okay.
She's the striker for Ampem Dakwa. She's the reigning top scorer for the women's league. And
is she white sugar or brown sugar?
They call her Sugar. I don't know. So you see a team that is not even with some of the foreign players and just locals, and they managed to travel to Eswatini to thrash them 6-1. That's an absolute brilliant performance, and hopefully going forward we are going to see some better performances from them when they come to Ghana. Kudos to Yusuf Basigi and this team.
Okay, I wouldn't let Kawawa and Oreku touch on the Princesses, but they would rather speak to the Ampem Dakwa progress as it has, because then they are in Ivory Coast now, to play against Hurricane FC.
Yeah, that's the final group game.
Yeah, before they move into the semi-final.
That is if they win. They need nothing.
They need a win.
Yes,
they need a win to progress.
Yes.
Do we see that happening now?
The
Wafu zombie champions. I mean, it should be possible.
The thing is that the results in the previous game shocked me.
AS Monday.
I mean, I couldn't see the game, but I went back and checked my phone and 3-0, and I was like, wow. I mean, that's a bad one for Ampem Dakwa ladies. But I think that after beating the defending champions, just to get a result like that is quite bad. But if they can go back, just remind themselves of how good they were in that game against.
Go back to the drawing board.
if they can do that, then I think that they have a chance. I think the way they approach the game against the defending champions is how they need to approach the final game, and they have everything in their arsenal to do it. I just feel like maybe in the last game there was a bit of defensive problems here. And there. It's something that they need to work on. Do a bit more defensive changes.
The high line is too much.
The high line is.
They're playing like Postecoglou's Tottenham.
The line is too high. The line is too high. Yeah, they need something from a game like this, and so they should go in and try to just get that result for themselves. But I mean, if they are able to do it, that's all well and good, because we need Ampem Dakwa ladies.
Yeah, they need to progress.
They need to progress. They need to get into the really good areas. I mean, I'm not a hater of Sundowns, but I mean they have
they
to
need to be
down.
stopped.
Yeah, they need to be stopped, because you can't just win African Football League and your women are going to no, come on. So Ampem Dakwa ladies, please just go in there and do something for us.
Oreku, Ampem Dakwa.
Sports Ultra.
So they're in a very difficult situation now, where all the hard work in your first game has been undone. Confidence is gone. I think it was in the second game. I thought they started the game pretty well, but is it Kone or something? I can't remember her first name, but I think she's called Kone. She got a hat trick, and it was at the end of the day, she was the difference between the two sides. But that's the level that they are playing at. That's how lethal teams at the top level can be, and they have no choice than to bounce back, because they are carrying a whole country on their head. And in their final group game, they're playing a side that haven't won themselves. I think they've drawn once and they lost AS FAR. So it's an opportunity for them to get that chance to at least go deep in the tournament. And no matter all the fairy tale talk and all the sweet things we're hearing about Ampem Dakwa and what they're doing for women's football, we have to remember the standard and the bar that has been set by Hazakes ladies a couple of years ago. This is a team where equally on their first attempt went all the way to the final, and probably were unlucky to have lost out on the final. And so if another representative is coming from Ghana, a team that beat the Hazakes ladies, then you're expected to at least match it or do better. And so I think that is the real level of expectations for them. Not beating the defending champions. Yeah, that's nice. But what do you do after that? And that's what they have to think about now. They have to achieve something more substantive. And for me, I believe that at least semi-finals would be decent enough for them. And to do that, they have to win their final group game. And so we're rooting for them tonight. Hopefully, they're able to get the result that they need.
You are still listening to Sports Ultras right here on 3FM 92.7 with me, Thierry Nyan, and I'm here with Yafosula B, Kelvin Oswansan, and Oreku Ampofo, dissecting everything football so far. Well, if you missed it, we've discussed Raphael Dwamena's, very, very sad demise, and also Chris Hughton's time at the Black Stars. The Black Stars itself looking at the upcoming 2 games, the World Cup qualifiers, and also looking at the Black Princesses, as we just did, and then Ampim Dakwa. But talking about continental football, let's do the men's edition, and this time it would be the Africa Super League. Actually, this was a Super League proposed by the FIFA president, Gianni Infantino, the same man who condemned the Super League in Europe, but some way, somehow says it was going to help African football. One day I will understand it, but as it is without Casablanca with the tears, Mamelodi Sundowns with all the smiles.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I mean, I'm a huge fan of Rulani Mokoena, the coach of Sundowns. I mean, just for how instrumental he was in beating Ali, and also making sure that the Ali journalists and the journalists from Egypt knew that they can't complain about officiating as Al Ahly, because there were so many,
simply because they are Al Ahly.
Exactly, and there were so many incidents where you realize that they should have been handed certain calls and it wasn't given. But I think that Mokoena has shown why he coaches Sundowns and why Sundowns have been CAF Champions League winners, and now to win over here as well is really, really huge. And they've been able to overturn. They actually overturned the score in South Africa to win, which is a really huge one. So congratulations to Sundowns. But I mean, I don't think that from what we saw in the African Football League, I think that that's really a reflection of just where African football is at the moment. The thing is that from the numbers we saw at the stadiums, from just how the whole thing was organized, how fast 8 of these teams were able to send their players across, countries.
But these are super teams.
Exactly, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
If these 8 teams are not there, let's say we are taking these 8 teams out, and we are forming another 8 from another group of really good African teams. I mean, I feel like a lot of them will still come from the north anyway.
True.
You understand? And
a bit of Southern Africa.
Yeah, and
most of them.
And that's where we are now. And you see, the West Africans are not even pulling their weight much to try to get into competitions like this. And so I just hope that going forward, the African Football League expands. We would want to see a few more.
So there's
teams.
A good balance.
Yeah,
in all the regions.
A few more teams from West Africa.
Because this 8 included Esperance.
Yeah.
It included Wydad.
Yeah.
Al Ahly. Sundowns. Mazembe. Enyimba.
Simba.
And Simba.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'm missing one more.
Petro.
Yeah,
Petro. So and they are northern as well. So you were looking at about 5 of them as Northern African.
4.
Yeah, 4 from Northern Africa.
4 from Northern Africa.
And the rest spread
across Africa. South, Enyimba from
West Africa.
And
East we have that is Pedro Atletico, and then Simba from Tanzania.
Yeah. So that's how it worked out. But you see, another thing also is that in my mind I'm feeling like, what will CAF really think? I mean, they get their money from the north and the south anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, these are the guys who would go to the stadium anyway.
Yeah.
Are they sure? Like, are they sure if a team from West Africa is added to the football league? Are they sure they're going to get huge numbers in the stadium like they did at Sundowns?
This was in Pretoria.
Exactly. This is Pretoria.
Love to.
Wow.
And the thing is, let's just make a simple comparison. This is Pretoria. Look at the numbers in the stadium.
Yeah.
If this game is played in Accra with Hearts of Oak, are we sure the numbers are going to be like this?
Trust me, it won't.
Or
even the Black Stars failed to fill stadiums lately.
Yeah. or if it's Kotoko in there, will the Kotoko fans fill the stadium this way? I mean, in my opinion, Kotoko may.
I almost said same.
Yeah, Kotoko may. But the thing is that the way they will play will determine how they will go to the stadium. And I feel like those are some of the things that the Confederation of African Football is looking at. Because, I mean, aside from everything, they need to make their money. I mean, giving Sundowns $4 million is a lot of money.
But for anyone who watches, football outside of this country will know that besides the football on the pitch, besides the quality of football on the pitch, what is also marketable is everything that goes on around the stadium. So you're looking at the fanfare, you're looking at the drumming, you're looking at how you pull crowds there. You're looking at the attractions. How many musicians will the West African football sides be able to draw to their national teams and their club teams? And I think these are some of the things, because those days you know that when you go to the stadium, Kotoko will bring this gospel musician,
Seth Frimpong.
No.
Miriso. Oh, bye.
Yao
Sapong. Pat Thomas was
Lord
Kenya.
Kenya was there. I mean, those were times when they knew what other things could also do to the football itself. But it looks like nowadays we just can't be bothered. I mean, the last time they tried Legon City's doing. Legon City did something interesting with Blacko, and I think was it Shatawali?
Yeah.
And I think since then we haven't seen anything like that. I don't know what's wrong and why we are unable to attract these stars.
The football itself is not attractive. You come to the Ghana Premier League and you get to know why. Today the jerseys they use as a stadium.
But I mean, before we move to the Ghana Premier League, kudos to Mamelodi Sundowns. I think they are really impressive on the African continent.
And I was speaking about the coach, Rulani Mokoena. I think he's one of the best. Piso Mosimane rose to a very high level, but I think he's one of the coaches we need to look out for from South Africa. Currently, he has 8 of his players in the Bafana squad for the upcoming World Cup qualifiers.
One question though, how is South Africa not able to replicate the success in Sundowns into the national team? Because Al Ahly did the same for Egypt.
Now they have started picking up, and if you look at the recent results from the Bafana, they are impressive. Even the last friendlies, they traveled all the way to Cote d'Ivoire, and I think they defeated the Elephants. And gradually they are making that progression. This is a team that is not even with Cassius Meilula. They have someone like Mokoena, the guy who nearly scored, but Peter Shalulile had to pounce on that ball. He's a Namibian. Shalulile is a Namibian.
Oh, I thought you were South African.
No, Obre Modiba, Themba Zwane. All these guys are from Ronwen Williams, the goalkeeper we beat anyhow. Now he's one of the best in Africa, to the point that he's nominated as one of the top goalkeepers on the continent. It clearly tells you they are doing something right, and they've taken football to a higher level and building from the grassroots.
Atisiki is good too.
Congratulations to Mamelodi Sundowns.
But I think that the South African coaches are running away from the Bafana job.
Yes.
Seriously, they are. I think that's a really, really important point here, because
Charlie, it's difficult.
Pizzo, I think after Pizzo's stint,
it's difficult.
They all realized that Charlie,
it's
the
difficult.
backlash Pizzo had in South Africa.
It's difficult.
And that's why when people say the media in Ghana is brutal, I tell them that look, you don't
need
know.
To be outside.
They will threaten your life.
You don't know. You don't
to be
know.
outside.
Here people just shout. In South Africa, they will meet you with cutlass also.
They should go to Nigeria and ask Stephen Keshi. And ask even the one who lost, the technical director who lost to us during the World Cup. The one who said he plays like Guardiola. Hey, come on. They should go and ask Eguavon what happened to him when he decided when he failed in qualifying to the the FA president, what's his name? He's now left the role and he's now in charge. He's now in charge of what works at FIFA. Amaju Pinnick. Charlie, it's not easy anywhere. I think even in Ghana we are liberal.
It's true.
Even here we don't use the same adjectives
because to be honest, like where Rulani Mokoena has risen to, he should be able to comfortably take on the Bafana. But he won't.
No, he won't.
He won't dare.
We move on to the Ghana Premier League. Nobody knows if the problem is Prosper or if Kotoko have an anti-Prosper ingredient in the team. Maybe that ingredient is the head coach. He doesn't want them to prosper. Samatex. I mean, today, yeah, we can say, hey, it's Samatex, so. Bro, it's Kotoko. Hearts can tease, but they can't tease that much because they also failed to win. So let's look at the Ghana Premier League, and I'll just sum up the results, and the guys would break it down for all of us. Accra Lions beating Karela by 2-1. Samatex beating Kotoko by 1-0, and that was yesterday. Today, the games were 6. I would name them. Insochaman also beat Tamale City by 2-0. Hearts of Oak drew 0-0 with Legon Cities. Mediama lost at home to Brecum Chelsea by 1-0. Bichem United also drawing 1-0 with Bofakwa Tano, and then Nations FC beating Lions by 1-0. Dreams FC also beating Great Olympics by 2-0 earlier today. So these are the results from the Ghana Premier League. I've already mentioned Kotoko and their draw with Legon Cities, and then Asante Kotoko's defeat to Samatex. So guys, let's just get into it.
So I mean, if you're listening to us, kindly go on Facebook, and the results have been displayed on the screen. You can just look at the results on the screen, because maybe we can't go over the results, so you might want to catch that. But I think that Prosper Teogum is in a very hard place. The thing is, he knows, because that press conference on Wednesday, I feel like when everything is disintegrating, that's the first sign you see. The coach comes out, tries to lash out at everybody but himself. And I think that,
including senior players.
Yeah, and I think that he showed it in that press conference. It was a moment of weakness. I honestly don't think he should have done that. And that is one of the things that might go on to hurt him this season. Because then if the players decide they're not going to play for you, then there's a problem. Then there's a problem, and you need to get them to understand and play for you. So funny thing is that yesterday I was speaking to Karela United coach Shaibu Ibrahim Tanko, and after the I don't know if I should say this, but after the show, he just told me plainly that Kotoko will lose to Samatex, and that Kotoko are not that good. And one of the games he rules this season a lot is that game at the Babara Stadium where he felt his Karela team had a chance, but they just couldn't do it. So what he was saying was that Kotoko have good players on the bench. Okay. So the thing is that the team they usually start with is not a team that could potentially win a game for them. So the members on the bench who cannot actually play 90 minutes because their fitness levels are not up there are the guys who come on around 20 minutes to finish the game, and then they try to get things done for him. But 20 minutes to end the game is just too close to call. If you are 2 goals down, how do you score with 20 minutes to go? And that's where I think Kotoko are at the moment. And it's a very, very hard place to be. The thing about it is that for someone who wants the Ghana Premier League to get better, I think that the way Kotoko and Hearts are performing is not the way to go if they want to market the league and then make it bigger than it is now, because then these two teams have the biggest fan bases. If they're not doing well, the fans are not going to the stadium. Especially Kotoko. If nobody's going to the stadium, the club is losing money, the FA is losing money. And how would the club even fund the fact that they are using the Babara Stadium? And how would they pay the NSA, their quota and all of that? All those things are huge problems. And Kotoko need to fix their issues quick and fast before things start getting worse. They are already in the relegation zone. And in my all through my grown-up ages, I don't think I've seen Kotoko in the relegation zone ever, and this is really, really terrible. So hopefully they can be able to do something. But for the others, Mediama and all the others who put up some really good performances, kudos to them.
Mediama, I'm satisfied.
What hatred is this?
Thanks for the defeat. But I've always said it. Mediama, I think this is the beginning. They start CAF Champions League in the next few weeks. We'll see the
You were the
colors.
same person that said even when they won or they drew away, it wasn't convincing. It wasn't this, it wasn't that. Now they lose and you're satisfied.
How can you not beat Brecum Chelsea at home and you want to win a game in the CAF Champions League? But regardless of the result, I just think that the Ghana Premier League is setting up to be really interesting this season, because who would have thought that after 10 games and Satriman would be top, and you have the likes of Samatex and Brekum Chelsea all challenging them. They all came from nowhere, and that's the beauty of the Ghana Premier League, because the table you are seeing now, after 5 matches, will not be the table you see.
Yeah.
Some of these guys I mentioned will probably be in the relegation battle, and then there will be a new set at the top of the table. It's always been intriguing, but one thing that we're not used to is seeing Hearts and Kotoko perform this poorly.
Terribly.
And it's not a case of just one bad day at the office. You can clearly see that these two sides are very, very bad. Heart of Oak cannot score a goal, and Kotoko.
They've lost 3 on the bounce, Kotoko.
Yeah, Kotoko, I don't know what's happening to them. It's almost like they're fighting within themselves, even before the football comes. The coach is fighting with his own players. The fans are fighting with the coach. The coach is fighting with other. Yeah, it doesn't speak all of the club. And the distractions, I feel, are just too many. Even if you're a good team with this amount of distractions, it's difficult to remain focused and win games. And it maybe it's just a confirmation we needed that these two sides are not our biggest clubs anymore, and it's time for a new force in Ghana football.
And that's exactly what it is, and what it's been for some time now. Kotoko and Hearts have failed on the pitch and off it. But once again, remember, this program is brought to you by Betway Gets Way More. If you're looking to get the biggest odds and the biggest cash outs, it is with Betway. So just, go straight to betway.com.gh and stake your bets. Let's take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back.
Tuesdays, Fridays, and Saturdays will never be the same with Betway. Get cash rewards, free bets, free spins, and more with deposits on Top Up Tuesdays. Log in on Fridays for a chance to get free bets, free spins, and more. And every Saturday, get boosted odds across the most popular bet types on the weekend's big fixture. Get way more at betway.com.gh. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. No under 18. Terms and conditions apply. Betway. Get way more.
We are back here on Sports Ultras 3FM 92.7. So it's Sports Ultras on 3FM 92.7. But just before I move to the English Premier League, Kotoko are 16th. That's just in case you were wondering.
Yeah, relegation
16th.
bound.
16th. But I mean, in the last 2 or 3 seasons, we've seen Hearts of Oak linger in those positions and still come up in top 4.
Hey,
Ghana Premier League, there are 5 points between first and relegation.
It makes the league so bad. After 10 games, how do you get 10 points from 10 games? How?
Unless you're Chelsea.
Charlie, a point per game average.
Unless you're Chelsea. Talk about Chelsea. Let's go on to the English Premier League. Hey, Chelsea seems to be coming back. Oregu. For some reason, Chelsea play well against big teams. We saw them against Arsenal. They bottled it against Brentford. They played well against Spurs. Well, it was our bit against 9 men. And then now against full set Man City. 4 goals scored. This is the first time since Guardiola took charge that he scored 4 goals and conceded 4 in the same match.
Yeah, the thing is that in this match, there was that opportunity for Chelsea to crumble, conceding very early in the game to a penalty which you thought wasn't probably a penalty. Emotions were high. Cucurella was adjudged to have brought down Erling Haaland, and then they go on to score.
It was mentioned to be harsh by pundits. Do you agree?
Look, I think
we have that on our Facebook screen, so if you want to just catch it, you can just go on 3FM 92.7 or the 3 Sports pages on Facebook and catch the VAR calls in this particular game. Oriku, sorry.
Yeah, I don't even think that's what the controversy is. Okay. I accept that Cucurella has his hands on Haaland. Mm-hmm. Usually you see this for a couple of seconds and then they let go, but it was probably maybe a tad bit too much, and so in that way you give the referee the power to give a penalty or not. But I think the real controversy is before that, where you can see 2 players there. I think one was a head injury, I suspect, and so I'm wondering why the game continued. Then I felt Doku nudged Caicedo a bit. But then again, the thing with VAR is that they're not here to referee the game. They keep on saying that they will only correct clear and obvious errors, and that
wasn't a clear and
they
obvious
believe
error.
the referee sees that and plays on, but he doesn't see the Cucurella hand on Erling Haaland, and so they go on to
but that was an
blow
error
for
to me.
Yeah.
I thought the
Very
goals
big
would
error.
stand, but it stood and they scored, and there was that temptation. You know, against Manchester United, we saw similar. They were decent against them till Rodri was brought down, and then they scored a penalty, and the game just moved away from them. But credit to Chelsea, they fought back, took the lead in the first half, and then there was another moment of a weakness where I thought momentum shifted again. Akanji getting the equalizer for them, and Chelsea came back, and then once again Manchester City took the lead after the game went 3-2, and it became 3-3, and Erling Haaland made it 4-3. Time and time again, the old Chelsea we know from last season would have crumbled. But now I think we're starting to see something. We're seeing a team that believes, a team that fights, a team that remains committed. And it's interesting that Pochettino has just been in charge for 3-4 months, and he's still able to get this form of performance from the boys.
5 months, I'd say.
Yeah, maybe 5
if you
months.
consider preseason.
Yeah. But the thing is that you want the next level for them is that can they do this more often? Can we see this fight, this level of consistency more often? And I think that will be the difference between where Chelsea finishes this season. Based on the performance we saw today, I've always said that Chelsea are a top 6 side. We can forget about what had happened last season, but the quality of coach that they have in Pochettino and the players that they do have, Chelsea outright is a top 6 side. What will be the difference is how they are able to face teams that they're supposed to beat. Because don't be surprised that we would see Chelsea put up this performance against Tottenham Hotspur, and then they'll come up against Manchester City, who are the treble winners, and probably should have won the game if you look at the chances on hand in the day. But the big question is that after the international break, can Chelsea get something at Newcastle away? That's always been the challenge. Where after a good result,
this was touted as the deadly month for Chelsea. Play against Spurs, play against Man City,
Newcastle.
There's Newcastle, and then of course there's
Brighton and Man United.
There's Brighton, Man United, and no one expected Chelsea to come out with maybe even a single point, considering Spurs were top of the table. City are perennial favourites for the title. Newcastle are the new favourites.
St James Park.
At St James Park. Brighton obviously are one of the darling boys in the Premier League. Really, no one gave Chelsea a dog's chance, but out of 6 points, they have 4.
Yeah, and I think it's good. When you have such a fixture congestion and schedule that you take a look at the next game and it's a tough one. What you want to do is that you want to tackle what's right in front of you. Because once you're able to do that, it gives you the confidence to be able to then move on. And most importantly, momentum is a very underrated trait in football, because I feel the only reason Chelsea attacked this game like the way they did was because of what happened at the London Stadium against Tottenham Hotspur. Just to come off fresh, beating your rivals in the derby, a team that hadn't lost in this season in the Premier League, is that sort of confidence that we saw them display today, that no matter what happened, they kept on proving that we need to get something from this game. And this is our home, and we have to make it count. And so now there's that extra bit of momentum that now they're unbeaten against Tottenham and Manchester City. But a game away to Newcastle, a team that have 11 injuries, now can Chelsea capitalize on that and start picking up points consistently? Because at the end of the day, all of this talk, all of this sweet analysis, sweet praises for Pochettino, Chelsea are still some way off the top 6, and we're still just making our way into the top half of the table. And so we'll see how things go. But we need to pick up points and climb up the table pretty fast.
For the sake of time, Kelvin, you touch on another game for me, and that's Arsenal-Burnley.
Well, I think it was good to see Arteta and then Arsenal get back stronger after that loss to Newcastle. The complaints were too much, and they needed that good result, especially without some key players. Gabriel Jesus, Odegaard was still absent. Thomas Partey is still not in the team. Eddie Nketiah battling also with an injury, and that they had to play an improvised forward in that is Leandro Trossard. But they managed to get the 3 goals, especially after the opponents Burnley equalized, and then it took Saliba with that header, and then the final finish, acrobatic finish from Zinchenko. Good for their confidence.
It was a good goal.
Yeah, very good goal.
Really,
Going to the break, I think it's good for them. But sincerely, Tottenham Hotspur, are being given a reality check, and they should really be very careful. Now, you know that game they played, against Chelsea, and then they decided to just let the world see that yes, we are playing a high line, is going to affect them this season. Yeah. So if you see what Wolverhampton,
especially what the manager came out to say, I thought it was really
I think Wolves
will learn.
Yes, Wolves were even wasteful. They should have finished the game in the first half, but they allowed Spurs to continue. Hopefully things get better.
You want your team to be a Champions League constant, and you want to play highlight.
Things are definitely going to get better.
This is not the Japan A-League.
Exactly.
Anyway,
and I think it was a good victory to Newcastle United. You could see Kieran Trippier arguing with the fans after the game that they have injuries and then they should give them time and they were going to come good. That was a very good win for the opponents trying to Bournemouth. Yes, and Antoine Semenyo was very good in that game. Unfortunately, he couldn't get his name on the score sheet.
He's key for them.
Yes, Dominic Solanke, his strength and the way he plays, and the reason why I asked myself how we cannot get the best out of him for other players to just capitalize on his strength and then give us goals. Hopefully, we get the good goals the good results that we have. Iñaki Williams wasn't bad in Spain, but that game was also another exciting one. If Chelsea and then Manchester City gave that brilliant performance and brilliant game this afternoon, Friday evening was also another brilliant game where we could see Celta Vigo and then that is Athletic Bilbao play out that 4-3.
That was also really good. Really good. Not just because it was 7-goal thriller, but anyone that saw, I didn't see the whole game.
An end-to-end action.
Yeah, I saw the highlights and I thought,
you should have watched the entire game.
Anyway, we've been joined by Emmanuel Andam. Unfortunately, we have just like a minute to go, or we are done, producer. But Andam definitely has to talk. And Andam, I'll give you Man United because you told me that your club in England is Man United.
Yeah.
You can't run away from it.
Yeah.
Are you happy with Luton? The Luton win, sorry.
Right now, I'm not a United fan. I'm a Barca fan.
You choose what you want, what you want to do. Next week, you will not come and tell me you are not a Barcelona fan.
See, when they lost to Copenhagen, you just knew that, okay, heading to the weekend fixture, a match like this, it should not be like a big match for United.
Yeah, of course.
But then with the kind of patch they're in, people have their eyes glued to that game.
Yeah.
United played well. For me, I feel like they were just not clinical enough.
Yeah.
Luton could have made, maybe, let's just say, go a draw, or even probably a win. But United were, let's just say, scrappy. Took Lindelof to score a goal for them in front. Rashford was just not clinical as enough. And it just doesn't look like the United of old. Yeah. That's why I even left there. But then, they just need to turn the fixtures around, get into a good run of form, and then hopefully from there to just turn good for them.
Yeah, and but your Barcelona team also did well, coming back from behind. But I mean, they considered too early.
Yeah, it's shocking what Barcelona is going through right now because it's just as if United have the same problems as Barca.
But Barca, unfortunately for them, they are high on the table.
Yeah, that's the fortunate thing. But you see Madrid
is it because
score
La Liga
5.
Is weaker?
You see Madrid score 5.
Okay.
And then Barca against Deportivo, you're expecting them to also score 5, and you just get 2. It's not
Madrid without Bellingham scoring 5.
I know, right?
Without Bellingham, without Rudiger. Yeah, they missed the number of players. Yeah.
Anyway, let me just go to some of your messages on Facebook. Mwakun Edu says, kudos to you guys, especially Kelvin. I'm listening live from Nottingham. That's a big fan of Kelvin all the way from Abutre. Starboy says, watching the show live and clear at Ahafo, Nim Airport. Ahafo Nim Airport.
Ahafo Mim, Sunyane, so the Bono.
Oh, okay, Ahafo Mim, okay. I learned something today. The match commissioner for Hearts versus Legon City must be arrested. Oh, how?
Yeah, did you look at the jerseys?
But arrested saying. Check the jerseys of both teams and tell me the differences between the jersey. GFPO is useless. Anyway, today Manchester City will beat Chelsea. I think this message came before you realized what your fate was. Good evening. I'm watching you live from Lagos. Thank you very much, Seth Kukblenu. And then Yayolistic GH says, watching you live from Bumpurugu. Thank you very much as well. Good that you get the signal. From there is Ashes Ali says, it's very pathetic. Now who is to blame for allowing Dwamena to continue playing football? His manager, his club, or FIFA? Watching the show live from Lisbon. Thank you for your messages, especially you from Lisbon that I just read from. And I think that is a $1 million question that we definitely, will be looking at going forward, because, like Kelvin said, football governing body FIFA must have some regulations that governs the health conditions of these players. And so if there's a player that against the better judgment of the medical teams say that he is not capable of playing football, there must be regulations that does not leave the decision to the player. It must be an overseeing decision that says that we are not even allowing you in under the umbrella, but for some reason they're allowed to play, and then we keep losing lives. We say we will learn, Fabrice Muamba and all of that, and we never do learn. So hopefully we're able to get there. But this has been Sports Ultras. My name is Theo Winyan. Another ultra here has been Ori Kwampofo. He is an ultra when it comes to Atizigi, when it comes to Chris Hutton, when it comes to Mediama.
Yes.
And then there's Kelvin, who is an ultra when it comes to Chelsea Pep. And then I have Emmanuel Andam. Emmanuel, thank you very much for joining me. I'm a bit very late, but hopefully next week we'll get to listen to you a lot more. And that'll be all for Sports Ultras. My name is Theo, and this program has been brought to you by Betway. Get way more. Same time next week, we'll bring you an even more exciting edition. Yao Fosulabi was also here with us. He's had to leave earlier, but definitely for you, our audience, bringing you content elsewhere on a Media Journal platform. Same time next week, I'll catch you again.